Have you ever felt like a stranger in your own life, as if the person you see in the mirror is just a placeholder for someone far more powerful? You are standing on the edge of a metamorphosis so profound that the version of you reading this right now will soon be a distant memory. Welcome back. Today, we are diving deep into the final evolution of the Chosen One. By the end of this session, you will understand the specific markers of the transformation you are currently undergoing, a shift that will alter your frequency, your purpose, and your very essence. You have felt the pull of something greater, and today you will finally see the blueprint of who you are destined to become. Prepare yourself, because by the time we finish, you won't just see the world differently. You will realize that you have become someone entirely unrecognizable to the world you once knew. If you feel called to venture beyond the surface and sit within the inner circle of this journey, I invite you to join our sanctuary of deeper wisdom. This space is not for everyone, but for those who are ready to access the guarded blueprints and extended transmissions that the world is not yet prepared to hear. By becoming a member, you gain early passage to our most profound revelations and exclusive content designed to accelerate your personal metamorphosis. Step inside if the resonance is clear. Your seat at the table of the awakened is waiting. The process of shedding your old identity begins as a silent, internal collapse of everything you once thought defined you. You start to realize that the person you were, your old reactions, your past insecurities, and even the way you spoke feels like a costume that no longer fits. This is the death of the mirror. You look at your reflection and realize the shell remains the same, but the inhabitant has been replaced by a stranger of higher substance. As this internal shift intensifies, your external reality begins to mirror the void. Friendships that were built on the old you start to wither naturally, and environments that used to bring comfort now feel suffocating or hollow. You are not losing your life. You are clearing the stage for a performance you haven't yet begun to play. This period of isolation is the necessary darkness of the womb before the rebirth. The mental constructs you use to navigate the world are the next to fall. You find that you can no longer participate in the small talk, the petty dramas, or the societal games that once consumed your energy. There is a newfound heaviness in your spirit that demands truth over comfort, forcing you to burn away the masks you wore to please others. This fire is painful, but it is purely refining in nature. Your ego attempts to cling to the familiar, creating a sense of grief for a version of yourself that is dying. You may feel lost or unanchored, drifting between who you were and who you are becoming. But this instability is actually a sign of progress. It is the dismantling of the false self to make room for the authentic soul, a process that requires total surrender to the unknown. Finally, the mirror reflects a new clarity that transcends physical appearance. You begin to carry yourself with a quiet authority that doesn't need to be announced or defended. The old you becomes a distant memory, a character in a book you finished reading long ago. You have successfully navigated the void, emerging not as a modified version of your past self, but as an entirely new entity, ready to claim a higher destiny. The transition from a vulnerable empath to a master alchemist begins when you stop absorbing the energy of the room and start setting the tone yourself. For years, you were a sponge for the emotions of others, often leaving you drained and confused about your own state of mind. Now, a boundary is forming, a spiritual filter that allows you to observe the chaos around you without becoming a part of it. This newfound mastery manifests as a shift from reactivity to intentionality. Instead of being knocked off balance by a negative person or a stressful environment, you recognize the energy for what it is, raw material. You learn that your presence has the power to neutralize hostility, not because you are fighting it, but because your frequency is too stable to be disturbed by lower vibrations. You begin to treat your energy as your most precious currency, investing it only where there is a return of peace or growth. This alchemy involves the conscious transmutation of pain into power, where every setback is viewed as fuel for your internal furnace. You no longer ask why things are happening to you. You focus on how you can use the energy of the moment to elevate your own consciousness. As you master this craft, you notice that people and circumstances begin to bend to your internal state. When you enter a space with grounded, alchemical intent, the atmosphere shifts to match you, rather than you shifting to match the atmosphere. This is the mark of a true sovereign, one who has realized that the external world is simply a canvas for the internal light they project. Ultimately, the alchemist lives in a state of empowered stillness. You recognize that while you feel everything deeply, nothing has the permission to own you. You have turned your sensitivity into a weapon of light, capable of piercing through illusions and maintaining a high vibrational frequency even in the darkest of times. This is the peak of energetic maturity, where your spirit becomes the dominant force in every interaction. The transition into the silence of the wise begins when you realize that your energy is too sacred to be spent on people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You no longer feel the frantic urge to defend your character or explain your path to those who live in a different frequency. This silence isn't born of bitterness, but of a profound realization that truth does not need an audience to remain true. You find a strange power in being underestimated or misunderstood by the world. As you move beyond the need for validation, you notice the voices of society becoming a dull hum in the background of your life. The applause of others, which once felt like oxygen, now feels like noise that disrupts your inner broadcast. You stop seeking permission to be yourself and start seeking alignment with your own soul. This detachment creates a vacuum where your true identity can finally expand without the pressure of external expectations. In this stage, your solitude transforms from a place of loneliness into a throne of power. You begin to crave the quiet because it is the only place where you can hear the whispers of your intuition clearly. The social circles that used to define your worth start to fade, and you find that you are perfectly content standing alone in your truth. You have realized that having a seat at every table is actually a form of spiritual imprisonment. The need to prove your worth to others is replaced by a deep, quiet self-assurance that requires no outward display. You stop posting your wins and hiding your losses because you are no longer playing a game for the eyes of the public. Your inner world becomes a private sanctuary, and you become the gatekeeper of who is allowed to witness your evolution. This boundaries, the first approach to life, is the ultimate act of self-respect. Ultimately, the silence of the wise is the mark of a soul that has found its center. You navigate the world with a know-it-all spirit, not in an arrogant sense, but in the sense that you know exactly who you are and why you are here. This internal certainty makes you immune to the gaslighting and manipulation of the world. You are finally free because you have stopped looking for your reflection in the eyes of people who are still blind to their own light. The activation of your intuitive eye brings a chilling clarity that strips away the illusions people project into the world. You begin to see through the masks, the fake smiles, and the hidden agendas with a precision that can feel overwhelming at first. It is as if a veil has been lifted, revealing the energetic truth behind every word spoken to you. You are no longer listening to what people say. You are reading the energy of why they are saying it. This unshakable discernment acts as a biological warning system that alerts you to dissonance long before logic can catch up. You might feel a tightening in your chest or a sudden urge to withdraw from a person who, on the surface, seems perfectly kind. You have learned the hard way that ignoring these signals is a betrayal of your soul, so you now honor your gut feelings as absolute law. This is the moment you stop being a victim of deception. As your vision sharpens, you also begin to see the beauty and the potential in others that they might not even see in themselves. However, your discernment also teaches you the difference between potential and reality. You no longer fall in love with what someone could be. You see exactly who they are in the present moment. This prevents you from wasting years of your life trying to save or fix those who are not ready for their own awakening. This stage of transformation often makes you feel like an outsider because you can no longer participate in the collective delusions of society. You see the hidden hooks in advertisements, the manipulation in the news, and the insincerity in social structures. While others are easily swayed by trends and emotional rhetoric, you remain grounded in a truth that is felt rather than told. You have become a living lie detector in a world built on shadows. The final evolution of this gift is the ability to discern your own ego from your higher self. You become ruthlessly honest with yourself, identifying your own shadows and self-sabotaging patterns before they can take root. This internal discernment ensures that your path remains pure and that you are not being led astray by your own desires. You move through the world with a laser-like focus, guided by an internal compass that is calibrated to the frequency of absolute truth. The frequency shift begins as a subtle change in the rhythm of your daily existence, where the things that once required immense effort now seem to flow toward you with ease. You realize that you are no longer chasing your desires. Instead, you are becoming the magnetic north for everything that aligns with your new vibration. This is the moment your internal work manifests as physical proof, proving that the world around you is merely a reflection of the energy you hold within. You start to see synchronicities that are too precise to be accidents, confirming that you are finally in step with the universe. As your vibration rises, the old reality begins to dissolve to make room for the new. Opportunities that were previously blocked suddenly open up, and people who share your high-level vision start appearing in your life as if by divine appointment. You notice that your taste in music, food, and even the environments you inhabit has shifted toward things that feel light, clean, and expansive. This is not just a change in preference. It is a total recalibration of your energetic signature that signals to the universe you are ready for a higher level of experience. The friction you once felt with the world begins to vanish because you are no longer vibrating at the frequency of struggle. You move through your day with a sense of knowing that everything is being orchestrated for your highest good, which in turn attracts more peace and abundance. This frequency shift acts as a natural filter, automatically distancing you from low vibrational situations without you having to say a word. Your energy has become so potent that it dictates the terms of your reality rather than reacting to them. You will find that your physical body begins to feel lighter and more energized as you shed the heavy frequencies of shame, guilt, and fear. This lightness allows you to manifest your intentions with incredible speed, as there is no longer a gap between your thoughts and your reality. You become a conscious creator, understanding that every word you speak and every emotion you feel is a command to the quantum field. The life you once dreamed of starts becoming your baseline reality, and you realize that your only job is to maintain this state of being. Finally, this shift settles into a permanent state of grace where you are no longer surprised by miracles. You expect the best from life because you know you are a match for it, and the universe consistently rises to meet your expectations. You have crossed a threshold where the laws of the Matrix no longer apply to you in the same way they do to others. You are living proof that when you change your frequency, you literally change the world you inhabit, stepping into a reality that feels more like a vivid dream than a mundane existence. Emotional sovereignty is the ultimate liberation that occurs when you realize that no one outside of yourself has the power to dictate your internal state. You reach a point where the storms of the world can rage around you, but the flame of your inner peace remains completely unbothered. This is the end of reactivity. The hooks that people use to pull to get a rise out of you simply no longer find a place to attach. You have become a fortress of tranquility, understanding that your peace is too expensive to give away to anyone for free. This stage of development brings a profound sense of detachment that is often mistaken for coldness, but it is actually the highest form of self-love. You observe the chaos, the opinions, and the judgments of others as if you are watching a movie that has nothing to do with you. You no longer feel the need to jump into the fire of every conflict or defend your honor against every slight. By reclaiming your emotional energy, you become a master of your own destiny, realizing that the only person who can truly hurt you is the one you allow to do so. Your relationships undergo a massive transformation as you stop being an emotional thermostat for others. You no longer feel responsible for fixing someone else's mood or absorbing their toxicity to keep the peace. This emotional independence forces those around you to either step up to your level of stability or move out of your sphere entirely. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances because you have realized that while you cannot control what happens, you have absolute authority over how you interpret it. As you deepen this sovereignty, you find that your old triggers have completely lost their charge. Situations that used to send you into a spiral of anxiety or anger now barely register on your radar. You move with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing that your worth is not tied to your performance or the approval of others. This emotional resilience allows you to face the greatest challenges of your life with a clear mind and a steady heart, turning every obstacle into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. In the final realization of emotional sovereignty, you become a source of stability for others without being drained by them. Your presence becomes a healing force because you are so grounded in your own truth that your energy naturally calms the turbulence in others. You have mastered the art of being in the world, but not of it, living from a place of deep, unshakable joy that is independent of external events. You are finally the captain of your soul, standing in the full power of a heart that belongs to no one but yourself. The realization of your divine mission begins when the frantic search for purpose finally ends and a deep, intuitive knowing takes its place. You stop looking at your career or your hobbies as separate entities and begin to see your entire existence as a single, coherent assignment. This blueprint is not something you create through logic. It is something you remember through surrender. You find that your natural talents, your past pains, and your unique perspective were all meticulously curated to prepare you for this specific moment in history. As the blueprint unfolds, your daily actions start to align with a higher intelligence that operates far beyond your ego's desires. You no longer feel the need to force doors open or struggle for recognition, because you understand that what is meant for you is already moving toward you. Your work becomes an act of service, and your presence becomes a vessel for a message that the world desperately needs. This alignment brings a sense of effortless power, where the universe itself seems to provide the resources and connections necessary for your mission to succeed. This clarity of purpose acts as a compass, allowing you to say no to distractions that would have previously tempted you. You become fiercely protective of your time and your focus, recognizing that your energy must be channeled toward the realization of your soul's mandate. The confusion that once clouded your path evaporates, replaced by a laser-like vision of the impact you are meant to make. You are no longer living for yourself. You are living for the fulfillment of a cosmic design that was written long before you were born. The people who enter your life during this phase are no longer random. They are strategic partners, mentors, and souls who are meant to assist in the manifestation of your mission. You find yourself in the right place at the right time with uncanny frequency, as if the script of your life is being written in real time by a master playwright. This synergy between your internal will and the external world is the hallmark of the chosen one who has finally accepted their role as a leader of the new consciousness. Ultimately, realizing your divine mission means becoming a living embodiment of your truth. You don't just do your purpose, you are your purpose. Every conversation, every project, and every interaction becomes an opportunity to ground higher frequencies into the physical plane. You stand as a pillar of light, fully aware of why you are here and what you are meant to accomplish, moving through the world with an unshakable sense of destiny that inspires everyone who crosses your path. The process of ancestral breaking is a heavy and sacred burden that only the strongest souls are chosen to carry. You begin to recognize that the patterns of addiction, poverty, silent rage, or emotional unavailability in your family are not your own. They are echoes of a lineage that has been trapped in a cycle for generations. By simply being aware of these patterns, you have already begun the work of dismantling them. You are the one who has been tasked with standing at the end of the line and saying, "This goes no further." As you heal yourself, you are simultaneously reaching back through time to heal the ghosts of your ancestors who did not have the tools or the strength to face their own shadows. Every time you choose forgiveness over resentment or consciousness over reactivity, you are rewriting the genetic code of your bloodline. This work is often lonely, as the very family members you are helping may reject or misunderstand you for breaking the status quo. You must accept that your role is not to be understood by them, but to free them. The weight of this responsibility can feel like a spiritual exhaustion that has no physical cause. You are processing collective grief and trauma that did not start with you, which is why your healing journey often feels more intense than those around you. You are clearing the debris from a path that has been blocked for centuries, and while the work is grueling, the reward is the total liberation of your spirit and the spirits of those yet to be born. You are the bridge between a painful past and a sovereign future. You begin to notice that as you break these ancestral chains, your own life begins to flourish in ways that your predecessors could only dream of. The family curses lose their grip on your finances, your health, and your relationships because you have integrated the lessons they were meant to teach. You are no longer a victim of your history. You are the architect of a new legacy. This transformation is the ultimate act of alchemy, turning the lead of generational trauma into the gold of a healed and awakened soul. Finally, you stand as a free agent, the first of your kind. You have successfully separated your identity from the wounded narrative of your ancestors and established a new frequency for your lineage. When you look back, you see a long line of souls standing behind you, finally at peace because you had the courage to do what they could not. You move forward with the strength of 1,000 ancestors at your back, no longer weighed down by their chains, but propelled by their newfound freedom. As you step forward into this new version of yourself, remember that the discomfort of shedding the old is simply the birth pains of the divine. You are no longer who you were, and the world will soon reflect the magnificent light you have dared to cultivate within. For those who feel called to integrate these truths on a more profound level, our membership sanctuary offers early access and deeper transmissions to support your continued evolution. Take a moment to breathe and ask yourself, which part of your old self are you finally ready to leave behind? To help this message reach others who are currently walking this solitary path, please write the word "awakened" in the comments below. Your journey has only just begun, and the most beautiful chapters are the ones you are about to write.